What's happening, guys? Snuck a quick one in on you there. We're off again, and we're heading up to the bush. We're going to go camping in the scrub. So no rivers, no beaches, just up in the scrub. Have a bit of a catch and cook, maybe see a few kangaroos, and catch and cook, I mean buy and cook. And yeah, so we're heading up to the family farm, well, which I was brought up on, but obviously I wasn't much of a farmer. It's run now by my brother and my nephew, and also my son Sam works on there full time, so it's a fairly big setup. Got a few farms, so we're heading up that way, and it's called the Mallee, so the Murray Mallees, mainly because the trees that you'll see in the video and either side of me as I show you what I'm looking at, they're called Mallee trees. So we are heading right up into the heart of the Mallee, and then we're going to go camp out at the back farm, which is called Fitzy's, and I've got a few lamb chops and stuff, so we're going to have a bit of a cook up, little campfire, and yeah, you're out on a sheep farm, you've got to have lamb for tea and probably some mashed potato. That's the plan. So it's about time we turn the camera around and show you guys what I'm looking at, which means it's time to start the music. So I'll take you for a very quick tour of Awanaka, which was my small local town, and that was Tamke's garage. You can still just read it up there, and that was a Golden Fleece service station. He used to have 2 Golden Fleece pumps out there with the ram on top, yellow ram. That section over to the right was where he had his compressor, and that was the old shop. That was the post office. It was the phone exchange when you used to have to sit there and hook the lines up to different numbers. It was the little delicatessen, local food store. Or if the church gets used anymore, but the original old church was right there, and that's now been reassembled and is at the Pioneer Village up at Karoonda. And that was the local hall where they used to have the cabarets and dances and 21st birthday parties. That's sold and now just a house. And Awanaka used to have one real character that used to live in this little tin house. His name was Vic Ailiff. And from the stories from Dad, he just rocked up out of nowhere, a bit of a hobo, probably about early 60s, about when I was born. And yeah, just used to help out on farms, do a bit of rouseabouting. Very brainy guy with mechanics, with cars and stuff, and was here most of his life. And the funny thing, we used to go to his shack or his house there and go and see him, and he'd have a little electric 12-volt electric shock hooked up to his door, and if he heard someone coming, he'd turn it on for a laugh. So yeah, he was a bit of a character. Made a push bike with a steering wheel he used to ride around on, and he made it so that the rear wheel had a big sprocket on the back too, so he'd be moving fairly fast and his legs would hardly be moving. So yeah, a little bit of a character of Awanaka. We're going to head to that scrub in the far distance. Rough guess, probably about 300 acres of Mallee scrub. And straight up ahead, the old house is all fallen down now. You can see the old windmill. As you know from my houseboat trip, if you followed me through those, I love taking a photo of a good windmill, and this one here is pretty good. Obviously hadn't been worked for years, even back when I was around the place. I can never remember this windmill working as a lad, but I'll just pull up and do it, and the house was just back behind it, which we'll show you in a minute. These days all the farms have got piped in water from the River Murray, and that doesn't look like that trough's been used for a while, so it looks like this paddock's been opened up and one of the fences pulled down, so the sheep would be using another trough. And this is the old farmhouse. I remember that being up and being able to walk into it, but she's all a bit of rubble now. Got a great old wood stove over there. Looks like an old car there, or a buggy. But that would have been where Dad first stayed when he first started on the farm. Okay guys, so I have decided on this little spot right on the edge of the scrub. Got a little bit of wood over there. We'll stick clear it a bit, have a little campfire there tonight. Do a bit of a cook up right on the edge of the paddock, and maybe tomorrow morning we might even see a few kangaroos. There's a fair few in this scrub, and got a few stumps around the place. So stumps are the old mallee roots. Actually got one over here, we'll go and grab that. Great for a bonfire. So most of this land out here was all mallee, and the farmers had to clear it with big chains. So we'll see how that one is. Yep, beautiful, great size stump. He'll burn well. I'll take him over there. But yeah, most of this land was all mallee scrub, and it was cleared by big old tractors or bulldozers with chains between them, knocking it all down. So a lot of hard work back in the early days. So we're at my favourite part. We've just got a little fire going there. Haven't got it too big at the moment because it's a little bit windy, but we'll gradually build it up. Got my little cooking machine over here. We'll get some coals in that soon, boil up some water. We're going to have lamb chops, mashed potato and some gravy. I think that's the plan. We're up on the farm, so you got to have lamb chops. I just got to go and catch a sheep first, but got my glass of scared of the dark medicine here, so we better have a sip of that. Oh, that's beautiful. And I reckon around the corner here we should be having an absolutely brilliant sunset. Sun on the stubble. Might be a little bit dark, but we've got the spuds on there. I'll wait for them to boil up. Probably have to boil them for about 15 minutes. Wait for that wood to burn down, then we'll put the hot plate on and we start cooking some lamb chops while we've got the other fire going over here. Love these nights, sitting here by myself, glass of scared of the dark medicine. We'll get back in a minute and show you what we're cooking. I have got trouble though, I didn't bring a potato masher, so I don't know. We will improvise. Okay, we've got the gravy on now. You've got to be careful with this. I've mixed a little bit up with cold water in a cup, then I'll put it into here. It's the black and gold cheap stuff, but it comes out brilliant. But you got to be onto it and keep stirring. I'll get this done. Potatoes are going good. We'll get this sort of nearly done and then we'll get the chops on. So time to get the chops on. Should be a bit of a sizzle up. I'm not even going to put any oil on the hot plate. Oh, listen to the sizzle. Should be enough fat in those chops So we got the chops, we got the gravy going, we got the potatoes. We might have to stock up with a bit of wood in a minute, but we're going to put a bit of lemon pepper, my favourite seasoning, on the chops. We better get back and stir the gravy. There we go, a bit of lemon pepper. Potatoes are still just boiling. They should be ready about by the time the chops are ready. Gravy's looking good. Work of bloody art. So Scared of the Dark medicine is working good. I got the torch out. That was a nice chop until I dropped it in the dirt. How many times have I told you I am an idiot? Lucky I got another one in the fridge. Let's go. This could be the most complex buy. There we go, I've dropped another. It didn't go in the dirt this time. This could be the most complex buy and cook you've ever seen. So I've got the torch in there. The gravy's looking brilliant. Look at that, thickening up nicely. We'll just leave that, cook the rest. We might put it back on, but maybe not. It should be hot enough. Back to the chops. I don't know if I've told you what we got. We got loin chops and a 4/4, I think you call that. Now don't drop it in the dirt. Move that up there a bit. Looking good. Okay, let's get these spuds going. Bought this long life milk, 99 cents. Put a little bit of that in there. I don't know, 30 ml, that sounds good. And the reason I get that is because I don't drink tea or coffee, and so I haven't got any milk on me. And now we need a bit of butter or margarine. We'll take a scoop out. I think they call that a knob. A knob, that looks like 2 knobs of butter. And now I've got no idea how I'm going to mix it up. I think it's going to be with the fork. I think the potatoes come up okay with the fork. Might be a few lumpy bits, but that's okay, we're camping. Fantastic. Well, it's been a bit of work, guys, but we've got there. I think I've got way too much mash. There we have it. Lemon pepper, loin quarter chop, and 2 loin chops with a bit of mash. The cheap Bilo, no, black and gold gravy out of that box. Seeing I haven't eaten all day. It's looking above a 9 already. Back in a minute with the review. So another great meal, 9.2, that's my review. Okay guys, just walking through the scrub here, and we've come across this old broom bush bundler, and this would have been left here. I reckon I would have been the last person to use it. I think my brother made it, but it's a bundler. You cut the brush, and that is broom bush over there, and people made, or they still do, fences out of it, and you cut it off with a machete, lean it over, go down, cut it off, and it's got to be a clean cut, and they weave it through wire to make fences for houses. And it was fairly expensive. It's probably more expensive now, but I used to go and cut a bit of it, but it was bloody hard work. So you'd cut them off, put them in the cradle, squash the cradle down, hold it down with your foot, and then tie it up with the binder twine. So this is the good broom bush, these long thin stems, and just cut them off smoothly with a machete. Couldn't use a chainsaw because chainsaw cuts them up too much and it's too hard to thread, so it had to be cut with a machete. So a bit closer look at the old house here. So I think I said before, when I was a young lad, I could actually, it was still all up and you could walk through it. It was a bit of a mess, but you could walk through it. Tin shed. I don't know, not too sure the rocks out there, that must have been a bit of an add-on. but it was more of a tin building here. Look at this classic old wood oven. Needs a bit of work to it. Got the oven there where the wood would have been put in. Even got the old kettle there. And there's another one over here. This was probably a bit bigger one. See if it opens up. No, she's all rusted up. The old chimney. Old cement tank which was falling down even when I was young. And you know how we like a nice windmill. Big old blades there. And over here would have been, hopefully this wind isn't stuffing things up, but over here would have been the original horse trough. Back in the day, where the horses would have had a drink. We've got an old shed over here and an old wagon, so we'll go check that out too. And here's the old wagon that was most likely pulled along by a heap of horses. Would have been pretty heavy. And the old farm shed over here. Okay guys, that's going to be the end of this one. Hope you enjoyed it, something a little bit different. I'm looking forward to coming back in the winter time. What are we now? We've just gone into autumn, and that paddock will be going into crop, the one that I did most of the filming in and where we camped. So it'll be going in again. They do different types of rotations these days. So yeah, so my son said that's definitely going to be in crop. So they'll be seeding probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks, whether it rains or not. They do a dry seed and they seed at the same time every year. Probably have to take a little bit of a gamble on the rain, but it tends to work for them. So it'll be interesting to see that paddock middle of winter with a nice crop of barley or wheat on it. I don't know what they're planting this year, but we'll get back there and check it out. So thanks for watching. Leave a comment, tell me what you thought of the video, or if you got any questions, and press that thumbs up button. It helps my channel. We're getting up there to nearly 900 subscribers, which is pretty cool, I reckon. I didn't think I'd ever get to 100, so we're gradually sneaking up on that 1,000. And if you haven't subscribed, just subscribe. Catch you guys next time. See ya.